Sandra, I want to welcome you to my shop and appreciate you letting me work on this beautiful 69 Camaro 427. I found your list inside here on the car as far as brake squeaking, and I'm going to switch this over to Hydro Boost. I'm going to clean up your fender wells. You've got a sniper fuel injection on it that needs to be cleaned up a little bit, so I'm going to try to clean all that up and just take it for a test drive. I notice it looks like this tire's a little bit low, so I'll go all over it and check your air pressure, and I'll drive it myself right now and see how all that feels, and then get it inside, get this hood open, and see if we can't clean the engine bay up, make it look a little better in here, make these brakes work a little better. So let's take this thing for a test drive and then get it into the shop. Alright, here we go on our test drive. Sounds like there's something under my seat. I can't tell if it's under the seat or under the car. That shift is pretty aggressive. It's got a lot of slack possibly in the rear end or something. I'll check that out while we're in it too, but it seems to be running pretty good. Maybe idle a little high for this converter, I don't know. I might look at that when I work on the sniper system. But yeah, something under the seat squeaking, and brakes definitely need the Hydro Boost. But pretty sweet driving, good feeling car. Very, very nice car. Test drive, I got it in the shop here, and we're just looking around at all the stuff that we need to get done here. The headers, you mentioned something about your plug wires, and that last or that third plug wire right there is into that header where it goes around that steering box. Probably need to get a new set of plug wires, and then maybe make that one a 90 or something. I have to think that through, but just do something to that one. But put new plug wires on it, clean those up a little bit. And then while I get all that out, I'm going to go ahead and clean up and paint below there, because I'm going to do the Hydro Boost over here in this corner. And so when I pull that out, I'll try to clean and paint up all that the best I can. Clean up all the sniper lines, the way the sniper's installed, it's in there extremely well. It can just be cleaned up a little bit. So make these lines look a little better with some 90-degree, maybe some AN fittings, and move that. I can move that plug in over there on the side. And then when that's down, you're going to see that regulator. So maybe black out that regulator. They've got some really cool regulators at Summit that look pretty good. Might get one of those. And clean this area up as well. Looking at your belts, your alternator belt is fraying on the side, so it's really ready for an alternator belt. The air conditioner belt's a little wider than what the V groove is, and it's wore this belt kind of funny where it's not pulling down in there. So maybe change all the belts out. Over in this corner where I'm working to clean all this up, I'm fixing to mask off these headers and pre-clean and paint all this before I start this conversion. I found that you had the old regulator in here, so you've got a one-wire alternator now that works by itself with a built-in regulator. Then the old regulator was in here, and I don't know if you can see on the camera, but this terminal right here is completely rusted up, and that's a power that's hooked into, if I can get it up here, this junction that's masked, that's black taped all together. It looks horrible, wires cut and all that. So I'm going to clean all this up and get this out of the charging system, and it could have some effect on that battery, being there was power being sent in to the old regulator. Let me grab this old regulator. This regulator, it was still in the car, and there's no need for it because your car now has an internal regulator and alternator. But that terminal right there that's so rusty was where this big main power was going in, which is taped into the other main power that feeds the inside of the car. So there was power going into this thing all the time. So I'm going to get rid of this and then redo all this wiring right here before I start cleaning all this up. On the wiring, I was cleaning it up and decided I just unplug it and just run it inside the fender here and then plug it back in. I got enough room to do it and it won't hurt anything. I may have to extend the wire for the water center a little bit, but that's going to work out real nice, and probably move this one while I'm doing it, and then that'll just make that open and nice and clean, and then put the new rubber on there. So yeah, while I got that off, I'm going to contact clean it, put some dielectric grease on it, and it was do that because it was starting to get all kind of rusty, oxidized looking inside there anyway. So, and I'm going to do both of them, the harness that runs out here and the harness that goes over there, and then plug all that back in, and maybe that'll help a little bit. I went ahead and raised this thing up before I did a video on how the Hydro Boost come out, but it worked out just wonderful. Everything went right in place. Some of the brackets they had
didn't work too well, but I had some brackets from some other jobs, and then had to make a few things, and had a custom fitting made, and I'll show you that later. But now I went ahead and got up in the air, and I'm looking at this rear end. So along with getting the brakes in, I wanted to get this brake cleaned up. This one is leaking gear oil, and it's saturated in oil. So I'm going to pull this off and clean all that. Probably wash and clean both the inside of the wheels. I'll probably pull all four wheels outside and wash the inside now. And then since this seal's leaking, School of Hard Knocks learned you go ahead and change the other seal and check the vent. So I'm going to make sure you've got a good vent in there, vent in this axle, and put a seal here and a seal there. And probably go ahead and pull the pumpkin out this morning while I'm doing it. You know, it's got a 9-inch rear end in it, Ford rear end. So there is a lot of slack in the gears. I'm not sure what I'm going to find in here, but there's a good chance it's either the pin or the spider gears, because I have no slack between the left side, the axle, and the yoke up front. I mean, it barely moves just a little bit. But the one on this side, there's a lot of slack in there, and I'm afraid to leave it because it could be the spider gear pin. I've had that happen before. That spider gear pin gets a lot of abuse from all the torque on those spider gears when you're under acceleration, and it'll wear that pin in two, and it'll actually break that pin. I have broken one, and when the pin breaks and it drops down, it spins around and it locks it up, and it's not fun. So just to be safe, while I'm going to have these axles out, I'm going to go ahead and pull this pumpkin. I got your rear end apart here, and come to find out it is the spider gears and the spider gear pin. Just so much movement. You can actually see those gears going side to side in there. It looks like it has a nice gear in it. It's a 410 gear, 411 gear, 9 teeth on the pinion and 37 on the ring gear. And at some point in time, somebody's put a big, large axle on the driver's side, and then the passenger side has the original axle with a pressed on sealed roller bearing, and the driver's side has a tapered bearing with a different type seal. So I don't know what's happened right there and why these axles are so different, and both the bearings are different, but I need to get with you. We'll make a plan on what to do, but probably be better off, you can get a center carrier for this for $350 or so, and maybe put some type of pause unit carrier in it. We could keep these gears in it, put new bearings and seals in it, and then come up with an axle for this right side, and then that'll stop it. If not, it's always going to leak gear oil. I mean, we had to do something because the gear oil was coming out, making the shoes wet on this left rear, and then all that slack you could feel when you drove it. So I'm going to start doing a little research on some parts and see what I can find out. Might get with somebody like Randy's Ring and Pinion or Summit Racing, and see if we can't get some parts going here. Then in here, I'm going to go ahead and change the brake pads. You got Willwood brakes all the way around, and the good thing about that is Willwood uses basically one pad for all of them, for all their series, for these street cars and stuff. So that's real handy. So I've got a set of those coming. And then on your carrier, which you have a 410 gear, the spider gears where the pin goes through are really, really worn. So it's allowing this right axle to move quite a bit with all that slack. So the time I was to rebuild this one and do everything involved with it, it's cheaper for me to get this whole center unit rebuilt and ready to go. This is 28 spline axles. The 31 splines are more popular, and there's more out there. So the 31 spline, which is a lot bigger and a lot better, are actually cheaper than the 28. So this unit here is about $15.50, something like that, just by itself in the 28 spline version. I can get a 31 for like $924, and then get two axles for $300, a little over $300, and they'll come already ready to go with the seals, the bearings, everything in place. So that's going to be my cheapest, best route, because the time I bought this one axle and then bought new bearings for both, and then press these off and press the other ones on and all that, I'd be getting close to that. So now I can I'll just buy it all and put it all new in at one time. Then while I got that pumpkin out, I've went ahead and pre-cleaned all the inside of the casing. I've run rags through there with pre-cleaner, cleaned out all the tubes. I've got premium oil with pause additive, the 330 or the 31 spline axle, 9-inch pause track, center chunk coming. I'm going to change the gear ratio to a 370. Has a 411 in it right now, and I did the numbers on that overdrive. It's like a 0.64 overdrive on the 700R4, and with a 370 gear, it's going to put you right around 2,000 RPMs at 70. Right now, you're at 2,000 RPMs at about 60. So getting on the interstate, you're going to be wound up. This motor has a lot of torque, a lot of low-end power. It's going to love this 370 gear, and you're going to be able to drive it on the interstate, drive it wherever you want to go. So I think that'll be a good move, especially with the 700R4. It has a really low first gear. It's like 3.4 something. I forgot what that is. So it's going to help you. So instead of it being at 2,000 RPMs at 12 miles an hour, what you got, you're going to be at 16 miles an hour at 2,000 RPMs. When you drive it now with the 411, it comes from, it goes out of first so quick you can't even really feel the first gear. So this 370 gear is going to make it drive and feel quite a bit better. So we've got all the parts ordered. I'm going to go ahead and start prepping up this axle, and then I'm going to work on the engine bay while I'm getting it, while these parts are coming in. All right, Sandra, just want to show you the first test fit of those new valve covers. And I've still got them wrapped in plastic so I don't scratch them. And I've got the old gasket under there to simulate that height so I can make sure they're going to fit. And you can see how good they look. I'm going to have to raise that just a little bit. It just barely clearance under the wiper motor, but I can shim that and move that just a little, and you'll never know it, and it will make that work out just fine. You can see over here how good this area looks. So from the wiper motor all the way around, I removed all that, pre-cleaned all that, scuffed all of it, primed it, and put a new semi-gloss duplicate color paint all the way around to over here, and cleaned all this up, cleaned all the wiring up, moved the wire and all that was here up inside the fender, cleaned all that, painted up your gearbox, and cleaned up your alternator, fixed your wiring. Your alternator had a bad wire on it that was just fixing to bite the dust. Let me grab that wire. This is a one-wire alternator, and the main power wire that come out of it, this is it. And it was so oxidized and corroded inside there that you can see the green in there, and then you can see where it's been hot. I mean, it's gotten really, really hot. So I found that, and then I found your old regulator that was over here still hooked up. So some of that stuff could be, it's just not good for that system, especially not that alternator when it's putting out a lot of power. So now I'm going to work over, I'm probably just going to go ahead and remove that for now so I can paint and clean it, and then I'll pre-clean and scuff and paint all that all the way around through there. I've moved the MSD box. I'll probably move it up here, and the coil up here, I'll probably put it on the intake on a coil mount bracket that was factory on these cars, and then your fuel pressure regulator right in here somewhere, and then look at your wiring. I've fixed so much wiring on this thing, and there's just so much jumbled up wiring. All this was up here, you know, and it worked fine. It was installed where the system was working good. It just wasn't real pretty. So I'm going to clean it all up, but also I'm going to heat shrink and solder every joint and go through all that, and hopefully if I find any more stuff like this, I'll fix it as I go. But I can clean that up and make that a lot nicer. Then in here is your distributor. So I pulled your distributor cap, and let me get a little view of that, and then you can see how rusty and oxidized that is. And that's just some condensation from where it's sitting in a room that's not air conditioned during the summer. That moisture builds up in that cap, and those are notorious for doing that. These rear end parts to get here, I went ahead and tore all this down, and I'm fixing to pre-clean all that, then scuff it, then pre-clean it again, and mask it and spray all that black and all this black over here. I've cut all the wiring out of it and cut all the wiring out of here, and I found so many little unions and nicked wires, and some of the wire, speaker wire in there. Then I'm gonna redo all that and clean that up. This is all the wiring I took out over here, and you can see it's a lot of it, and it was just a hodgepodge of splices and piggyback stuff here and there, and then all that in the trunk. So I'm gonna clean all that up, and then here's a closer look at your distributor. This is what that looks like, and that Hall effect switch is so rusty, and believe it or not, this is pretty common on a hot rod because the moisture gets in that cap. Quick update. You can see how clean all this looks now and all the wiring that I've still got to blend all this stuff in, but I'm going to hide it. And look how much wiring and hodgepodge of mess I have taken out of this. And all this is kind of scabbed together, and with the MSD in the back, and a lot of wires had cuts in them where it had been on. I'm not sure why they had all these little cuts in them, where the exposed wire just randomly throughout it. So I've taken it all out from front to rear. This is the only piece I'm really going to use back in there, and that's for the sniper. And I'll just hide it and blend it and put it inside here where you won't even see it. Might see a little bit of it, but not much of it. And then I'm going to do your fuel lines in behind there where it cleans it up. But let me give you a closer look at this engine bay. It is really, really turned out nice. All right, Sandra, this thing is really starting to come together now. After all the black paint I did in there, and the new valve covers and the hydro boost, I've got your MSD plug wires in there, and I've just kind of got them going around the head, and they're all really even. Turned out really, really good. I got that fuel system. I blacked out the body of the fuel pressure regulator, and then put your black face gauge in there, and then did the hoses. All the hoses are braided black hoses, so that looks good. I redid your breather, sanded it, painted it semi-gloss black, the same paint I used on the surround, and new emblems on it. And I moved that MSD box from the trunk to up here. Then rewire this whole area up here. I'm changing everything. I'm isolating the sniper so that it's on its own circuit. It's even going to be called through a relay. So the pink wire that used to turn this on with a key, it's going to run through this relay. So it'll actually connect through the relay straight to the battery, instead of being on the same side as that ignition switch. When you turn the ignition switch on, everything that comes on is on the same power as the sniper on that pink wire. And I've had feedback coming out of amps and stuff before when the key is off. I had one that idle air control was just barely clicking every now and then. And looked at the gauge, it was just a couple of few volts, and it was pulling it out of, I think, an amp or radio or something, I'm not sure. So since then, I've always put them on a relay, the small pink wire on the sniper call wire, and just a good way to do that. Then, so I've got to clean all this wiring up. Everything is getting new battery cables, ground straight to the engine instead of your ground was on your bracket on the alternator. And I just want that straight to the engine. Redid a little bit of the main power to the battery. Worked on this relay. I cut a lot of wiring out of it, so it's just going to be everything's been soldered and heat shrunk and thought through and changed around. I'm even going to upgrade the distributor I found that was so oxidized. I've switched it over to one from Sniper, and I'm going to run it through the MSD 6AL, and then have it where the Sniper will actually control the timing in that distributor through your 6AL. So that's going to be a huge upgrade, because before you had no timing basically, wherever it was set at base, because the mechanical weight advance in there, that was all frozen. It wouldn't even move, just barely moved. It was probably clicking on some and then backing off some. It was terrible shape in there. So now the computer will control that timing, and it's going to make a world of difference. I removed the fan off the front of the radiator, that call fan. That would be okay for like drag racing, off-road, stuff like that. But your car's never overheating, no problem. Let's get that out away from in front of that radiator, and then I could focus in on sealing it off a little better if we need, because that mechanical fan pulls almost 4,000 CFM, and that is really going to draw it through there. So yeah, get that out of the way, get that wiring out of the way, and then get back to the rear axle. I've got this rear pumpkin ready to go back in, and I went ahead and cleaned and prepped and painted it. A couple of 2 or 3 coats of the single stage urethane like in the engine bay, and cleaned all the housing out with the pre-cleaner, all the tubes out. And when I was doing your drive shaft, I found that back rear U-joint had chatter marks in it, so you could just feel that bearing when you're spinning it. You just feel it chattering. So I just went ahead and pulled the drive shaft all the way out to check the front bearing, and luckily I did, because your front bearing, so you can see how rusty that is. It is so rusty, and this cap is there's just chunks of rust and pieces in there. And it wouldn't have been long, it would have slung that front one out, and that would have been terrible. So good deal that we found both U-joints were bad. So now I put you in a heavy-duty U-joints in there, and they're in there perfectly. I've seated them perfectly. I've got them greased. I've got the grease zerks aimed the right direction so you can grease it. So I'm fixing to set this pumpkin up in here now, and then I'll work on my axles. I just got all your wheels back on the back. The rear end's completely back together. I went ahead and cleaned and painted the rotor where you see the black right there, and then painted on the outer side of it. Cleaned your caliper and waxed it. Then I took the wheels and cleaned all the inside of the wheels. The wheels are spotless clean inside. And then I'll come back and dry this and polish your wheels in a little bit. I've got your 3 quarts of fluid with the limited slip additive in it, the new carrier in it, the new axles in it. Everything fits so nice and tight. 31 spline, 370 gear. I think that 700 R4 is going to love this. Also got all the exhaust is not touching the body or frame anywhere under it. It's got that mandrel bit 3-inch exhaust all the way out, and it was kind of touching in some spots. So I've got all those clearanced out with the new collector gaskets in there, and I'm fixing to change the oil. And while the oil's going, I'm going to strain your oil through this paint strainer and see if there's anything in it and see how the oil looks. And I always do that every time. And put you a new the VR1 Valvoline oil in it, 2050, and a new filter. It really looks good and clean. And I always like to run all that oil through a filter just to see if there's something showing up. You do have a flat tappet cam in this motor, so I'm running the Valvoline 2050 VR1 oil. This has an extra zinc in it, which is good for that flat tappet camshaft. After about 6 test drives and yesterday I've run this car, everything we've done is just outstanding. The Hydro Boost brakes feel so good. They work flawlessly, didn't have to touch them whatsoever. Every time I drive it, I check your temp on your rotors to make sure that it's all working equally and good. So every time I come in, these front 2 rotors are running about 130-ish. The back ones are running about 100, which tells me they're working pretty good, pretty even. You want a little more in the front than on the back. So that seems outstanding. The Holley Sniper, I've changed it into the Hyper Spark, so I moved your MSD from the back to the engine bay, and then I'm controlling the new Hyper Spark distributor through the MSD unit. It makes it run so much better. It's idling good. The Sniper seems flawless. I'm going to work on getting this tuned possibly, but as it stands, it's really, really working good in just self-learn mode right now. Crisp, clean, it's not overheating. You can just let it sit there and idle and run all day long, fires right up. The only issue I had, well, before I get to that, the rear end and all that stuff, flawless. The 3 gear, all that is so smooth, so quiet. The axles are working good. The U-joints have really crisped up the way it feels. It was just loose and rattly and stuff in that drive line. So your new front U-joint, back U-joint, that front U-joint was so bad, all the needles were coming out of it, and it was just about to pop out. But that front shaft comes out. If you're going down the road, the rear axle keeps that drive shaft spinning, and it just creates havoc everything down here. So that one find on that U-joint is a big, a good find right there, because it really tears up stuff when that front one drops, and you are really, really close to your front U-joint coming out, especially the way it was shifting. I changed out these exhausts down here, these gaskets, and put in those premium gaskets with sealing on both sides, because both sides of this were leaking a little bit, and your O2 sensor downstream from that does not like that leak whatsoever. And so I've put in some premium seals, I've ran it, heat cycled it, come back, retighten them, make sure that's good. Put you in a brand new O2 sensor in it. I took that MSD unit and your Sniper, and now they're all powered on their own through at the battery. So they're completely disconnected from the original harness and wiring and all that, and that gets rid of all that interference that could come from amps or radios or anything else. So it's all isolated and it's running so good. The only problem I had was the detent in the transmission. So I noticed that cable was really kind of hard to pull. So when I drive it, it either wanted to stay in first all the time. As I adjusted out, it wanted to come out of first really fast. So that detent cable, I think, was hanging quite a bit. You can really feel it when the detent cable came off. I can feel the liner, you can feel the cable, and it was way too long and it was all curled up in the back. So I ordered and bought you the proper length detent cable. I just got done putting it in. It's the perfect length. It seems to adjust it out just perfect. So we'll see how that does. Hopefully that fixes that. Also, when I drove it, I had one time I went to start it and the starter hit the flywheel and just spun. So I wanted to look at that while I was under it too. I found several spots on this flywheel that where the previous starter, I guess the old starter was on it, it had knurled the leading edge of that gear. So I took and I had filed both sides of that and got all that knurl off of every spot. It wasn't real bad, but it was just enough that it did it one time for me, and I'm sure it might do it another time here and there. So I wanted to file those off, at least give it its best chance to work, and hopefully never do that again. So I filed them down both sides real good and filed the edge of it real good on every one of those spots. So we'll see how that does. So I'm going to get back in here and lower this thing back to the ground. It's snowing, a little cold outside, so I can't drive it today. But as soon as I get a break, I'm going to drive it. And if this detent works, then everything is working flawlessly. I'm so tickled with being able to do so many changes and so much different work, and every bit of it worked flawlessly. So let's get this thing on the ground, adjust this detent, and then we'll take it for a drive. All right, Sandra, we're here at Transmission Exchange in Springfield, Tennessee. They've been helping me for years. J-Bo, he's been building these transmissions for a long time, 30 plus years. Knows what he's doing. So let's go inside here and take a look at this transmission and see what it looks like. Here, I'm up here at Transmission Exchange, and J-Bo has got your transmission in a million pieces. But I wanted to show you a little about what's going on here. This is your second gear clutch band, and the material in it is coming apart, which is making second gear slip, but it's getting a Kevlar band. So this will be extremely strong. Same for your clutches. They're Kevlar clutches. Before you had stock plates in there, and they were slipping. And then this second gear servo, is that right?
Oh, it's piston.
Yeah, second gear piston. I guess the way these were stacked up, there was too much space in there, and it would cut that. So second gear problem there as well. Also, we found in your pan, the filter was laying down the pan. It's been laying there for a long time, long enough that it wore and rubbed the bottom of this pan. So looks like we're in good hands here with J-Bo. He's got this figured out. Your lockup converter, he's changed this around a little bit to make that lockup converter work a lot better. Before, it would lock up and stay locked up, and made it real ornery to drive. So we get all this back together and make this second gear shift. It's really going to run quite a bit better. So I'm going to get out of the way here, let J-Bo get back to his magic, and just wait for a call and come pick this thing up and see how it does. She's ready to go, come home. We just did a good test drive around the block. Picked it up from Transmission Exchange. J-Bo out there knocked it out of the park. This 700R4 in here is running and shifting better than it ever has. Put the Corvette converter in here. That was a great choice. It works out just perfect for this motor and rear end and all that we've got in it. That first gear feels good. The shift feels good. The overdrive is perfect. So Sniper's working good. Redoing all that Sniper and isolating it and changing the fuel lines around and all that. The Sniper is still in learn mode. I hadn't touched it, and it is just running flawless. I've done run about almost 10 gallons of gas through it. Driven it several times. Been to town in it twice with just no issues. So let me give you a little walk around on it, and then she's ready to come home. In the front here, you can see how the engine bay looks now. Way nicer than it did. Plug wires are just perfectly installed. All your black is done nice all the way around. MSD, that firewall, all that wiring. Much better. Did a huge amount of wiring on this and cleaned all this up. I've went through and rechecked all the brakes many times after doing the hydro boost. Put that hydro boost in. Fixed the axle seal on the other side. Actually changed both axles. The carrier with a pause unit with 370 gears in it. I've got it idling at 750 RPM. Sounds great, runs great. It's a whole new car. Just amazing how well this thing is running. And inside here, mount your Sniper screen down here, and you can monitor all the vitals for your engine, and they're all right on the money. I've got it targeted 750 RPM. Your airflow ratio is at 13 to 14. It's holding it right in there at 13.7 right now, so that's right on the money. And just doing wonderful. Thing runs